All right, guys, so I just had to do a reaction to this video when I seen it, because this is like the second or third time recently that I've seen TYT do this. They probably do this a lot more than that. I just don't really watch them like that. But this right here is another example of them overtly leaving out key details when it doesn't fit their race baiting narrative that they want to push on their viewers, okay? In which, again, they conveniently leave out the race of the people involved here, but yet they take a situation and they play it up as racial when, in fact, there's not really a race angle going on here, right? And what we're talking about is the Ryan Coogler situation, the Black Panther director who got detained by police as he was trying to withdraw like $12,000 or something from a bank, okay? Now, the bank teller thought that the dude was being suspicious. He definitely looked suspicious. And she took action, right? And the police detained him, they questioned him, and then they let him go. Nothing really happened. That's why I didn't really even talk about it, because I'm like, this is not really a real story. It's like, okay, they thought the dude might have been a bank robber. He wasn't a bank robber. Police questioned him, and he was let go. Nobody was hurt. No harm, no foul. Was it unnecessary? Sure. Was the bank teller probably a little bit too paranoid? Yeah, but I don't blame her for doing it, because I do believe in, if you see something, say something. So to me, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. However, this story blew up, and TYT has reacted to it, and of course, they're playing the race angle here. So without further ado, I just want to go ahead and play a news clip of this video so you guys get an objective perspective on what actually happened here before we get into this propaganda here from TYT. And I want you guys to notice the race and skin color of nearly everybody that is involved in this incident. Take a look.
Bank of America and Atlanta police apologizing to Ryan Coogler after he was handcuffed here at the Bank of America branch on West Paces Ferry in Buckhead. Handcuffed even though he'd done nothing wrong, and no one realizing they were in the presence of Wakanda legend.
Ryan Coogler waiting for the teller to bring him the cash that he wanted to withdraw from his account. Suddenly, he was in handcuffs. Atlanta police thinking they might be detaining a bank robber, not realizing they had just detained the writer and director of one of the world's biggest blockbuster movies, Marvel's Black Panther, filmed in Atlanta. Ryan Coogler, now back in Atlanta filming the sequel due out in November, Wakanda Forever. Coogler was at the Bank of America on West Paces in Buckhead trying to withdraw $12,000 cash quietly, slipping the teller a handwritten note. The bank called 911.
It just says I want to withdraw $12,000. Just be discreet.
Atlanta police interviewed the teller.
My stomach started turning. I'm like, okay, it just seems odd because you're making a withdrawal, but you hand me a note on the back of a deposit slip, and you keep telling me look at the note, but you don't want to talk to me.
And Coogler telling police he was just trying to withdraw the money discreetly and safely.
If I don't write down on a note how much I want out, and then I don't want it ran through the money counter right there at the desk, the whole bank ends up looking at me.
Atlanta police quickly realized Coogler was just a customer, not a bank robber.
I apologize for that.
Bank of America told us, we deeply regret that this incident occurred. It never should have happened, and we apologize to Mr. Coogler. Coogler, out of handcuffs, went back into the bank to complete his transaction, then went back to filming Wakanda Forever, saying now that he has moved on from this.
A frightening experience for Ryan Coogler and for the two people who were with him who were also handcuffed and detained. Atlanta police telling them that because of the nature of that 911 call, they had no choice but to handcuff them first and ask questions later.
All right, guys, so y'all seen that, you heard that, okay? Now, everybody involved in that incident is black, okay? So I really don't understand where the race angle comes from here that they're trying to play up. And I find it mighty convenient that they actually don't even mention the race of any of the people involved, the bank teller, the police officers. They don't mention race of any of the people involved in this supposedly racially motivated incident. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get in this, because this is going to be a long video.
You just watched get arrested in that footage is actually the director of the blockbuster film Black Panther. His name is Ryan Coogler, and he was just trying to withdraw some cash from his account until a teller assumed that he was actually trying to rob the bank and called the cops on him. And so he ended up getting arrested. Before we look at more of the
notice how this right here says bank racism, right? So you know they're playing this up as a racist incident.
Footage, I do want to give you some more information, some more context about this situation. Coogler was detained and handcuffed after he went to Bank of America to make a transaction on January 7th, according to the Atlanta police. The 35-year-old director, who was wearing a hat, sunglasses, and a COVID face mask, went to the counter and handed the bank teller a withdrawal slip with the note written on the back that reportedly said, "I would like to withdraw $12,000 cash from my checking account. Please do the money count somewhere else. I'd like to be discreet." So let's pause for a second. If you're withdrawing a big sum of money like that in cash, understandably, you don't want people around you to hear that you're withdrawing that amount of money in cash. I mean, this is something my dad taught me since I was a kid. Like, don't count your money, period, in front of other people. Like, it's just not a good idea.
Literally happened to me today. I going to Vegas over the weekend, so I withdrew some money, nothing like what he withdrew, and I was nervous about it. Like, as they're handing me the money, imagine $12,000. Like, okay, let's count it out in front of everybody, right? So he hands him a note. But guys, this is so easy. He says, "Can you get it from my account?" Well, does he have an account or doesn't he? Why are you arresting him without checking to see if he has an account?
Yeah.
You guys, do you see how deep-seated the racist assumptions are? I don't know if that teller is like some weirdo, random, like vicious racist. No, she just sees a black man while he's wearing a mask. We're all wearing masks, this is during COVID, right? And he says, "Can you get money from my account?" "Oh, you're right, sure you do." "Okay, arrest him."
So let me give you more.
All right, so first and foremost, here's the thing. When you go to a bank to withdraw money, okay, and you're withdrawing a large sum of money, first and foremost, I think if it's over $10,000, that's automatically something that the bank has to alert the government that, hey, you know, you're making this transaction. And that's something that automatically is going to send up a red flag. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be arrested, per se. But when you do that, plus you're wearing what looks to be a disguise, right? You got sunglasses on, you got a mask on, you got on, I guess, a toboggan or whatever you want to call it. You look like you're in a disguise. This guy also had a vehicle parked outside of the bank, right, with two people in the vehicle waiting for him, like he had some type of getaway vehicle. And then you go to the teller and you don't just give them the withdrawal slip. You give them, you write a note on the back of the slip. You write a note saying, "Hey, be discreet about it. Okay, go count the money in the back." Now, here's the thing. That teller at that point said, "Hey, you know what? I don't necessarily feel right about this for various reasons." Okay, now I'm pretty sure that teller has done thousands of transactions, routine transactions every day. So she probably knows in what situations there may be something sketchy going on here. Okay, and apparently she thought that this guy may be trying to rob the bank. Okay, that maybe he may be trying to get her to, you know, go get the cash or whatever, right? And then at that point he might try to, you know, rob the bank or whatever. All I'm saying is this. I can see why that teller would take the cautious route, take the safe route. She went to her manager and she said, "Hey, this is what's going on. What should I do?" And her and the manager, okay, both decided that, hey, you know what? We should play it safe and just call the police. That's what happened, right? So I don't necessarily know where this guy is getting the whole, oh, well, there's a racist assumption being going on here, because, again, the guy looked sketchy and he was doing sketchy things, okay? That's just what it was. Enough so that this black woman who was the teller said, "Hey, you know what? I got to take extra precautions here," right? But again, TYT on the other hand, they want to play this up as racist, but they don't want to actually tell us the race of the people that were involved in this.
Information about what happened. So according to Variety, the teller misinterpreted the situation as an attempted robbery when the amount of the transaction exceeded $10,000 and triggered an alert notification from Coogler's bank account. The teller then informed her boss that she suspected it was a robbery attempt, and together they called the police. 4 Atlanta Police Department officers arrived at the scene and detained 2 of Coogler's colleagues who were waiting for him outside the bank in a car with the engine running. And so we have body cam footage of not just of Coogler in custody, but he's trying to explain to the cops what's going on, so they let him go. Let's watch.
It's a medical assistant that works in my house that prefers to be paid in cash. Every time I make a withdrawal to pay her, you know, because it's a large amount, she works a lot.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't write down on a note how much I went out, and then I don't want it ran through the money counter right there at the desk, the whole bank ends up looking at me.
Tell me this guy don't look like a robber, right? Tell me this guy don't potentially look like a robber with that mask on. He had sunglasses on when he went in and that hat. Come on now. Tell me this guy don't look suspicious. Okay, now this is his explanation in regards to why he's getting $12,000 cash. And I'm one of these people that I really don't like the fact that the government or banks get alerts and notifications because of how much cash you're withdrawing. I'm not a fan of that. But that is what they do. And I think the totality of the situation and the circumstances is what led to this. But ultimately, in the day, the right thing happened. The bank teller took precaution. The police, who are also black as well, too, just like the bank teller was, came in and questioned the guy, and then they just let him go. Okay, so the only people playing this up as a big deal are people like TYT, who's trying to get a race angle out of this, and the mainstream liberal media. Even this guy is not playing this up as a big deal. The reason why is because he knows it's not a race angle to it. He knows that, hey, this person made a mistake. I'm not really trying to push this too much, okay? So everybody involved in this knows that this is just a mistake, right? It is what it is.
They just hear money going through the account, and I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe getting money out like that. So every time I go to withdraw it, you know, I put the amount, the account I want to take it out of, and I put my own card in, and then they usually take me like, oh, it's just get the money from me.
Honestly, that video is so devastating to watch. Like, it's insulting.
Yeah.
Like, he's handcuffed. He has to explain to them what he's doing. I mean, it's pretty sick. Now, after verifying his identity and his bank account, the officers released him and his colleagues, and he explains to the cops what happened at the counter. We have that video. Do you want to go to that first, Cenk?
No, I just want to comment on that video we just saw, because so many in the black community and otherwise took tremendous pride that a movie about black empowerment did so well. And for so long, Hollywood wouldn't make movies with black stars or about black people because they thought, oh, well, that's not gonna sell. And it turned out it sold spectacularly. It was such a great success. He was nominated for an Oscar, but it doesn't matter.
How the hell are they supposed to know who he is? I wouldn't know who he is. Okay, if he walked into the bank dressed in a disguise like that, even if he wasn't in a disguise, she probably wouldn't know who he was. So again, I don't understand where this guy is getting this stuff from. And it's funny because they're pretending to be upset about this when they're not actually really upset about it. They're just doing it because they feel like this is something that they have to do to appease their woke audience.
And that's what's so dispiriting. It just doesn't matter. So LeBron James buys a house in LA, they write the N-word all over the gate.
No proof that happened whatsoever. We have no pictures, no evidence that anybody wrote the N-word over on LeBron's gate. Okay, we have no evidence whatsoever.
And so a lot of times when black people are pulled over, they'll make the excuse of, well, it's the socioeconomic conditions. They weren't treated that way because they were black. They were treated that way because they're poor. But now here are rich black folks, and they're like, well, he was withdrawing so much money, and he had a couple of people waiting for him in the car because he's wealthy. Well, so you can't win. You can't win if you're poor and black. You can't win if you're rich and black.
Well, who are you supposed to blame in this situation? Are you supposed to blame the white man for it? Are you supposed to blame systemic racism? Because again, almost everybody involved in this situation was black. So I'm trying to figure out where is the race angle here. That's not to say black people can't be racist against other black people or have negative assumptions or prejudices against black people. Obviously that is true and that is possible. But in a situation like this, where this is in Atlanta, it seems to be a black neighborhood, black police officers, black people working at the bank, probably mostly black customers. I'm trying to figure out where the race angle here is, okay? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because to me, the angle is that, oh, well, they just made a mistake. That's the angle.
And I can't believe how calm he was. If it was me, I'd be screaming.
Because he wasn't committing a crime, right? And if you're not committing a crime, if you know you're not doing anything wrong, then you should be calm, right? When I got pulled over by police, and I actually got pulled over by white cops. I did a video on this. Okay, they thought I was drunk driving. I knew that I wasn't drunk, right? I knew I was fine. And therefore, I didn't mouth off at the police. I didn't get nervous. I didn't do any of this other stuff because I knew that I was in the right. And because I'm in the right, they're not going to arrest me. They're not going to beat me up. They're not going to shoot me. None of the things that mainstream liberal media claims that happens to black men when they interact with the police happen. Just like in this situation right here, because this guy wasn't doing anything wrong. He knew it was a mix-up. He knew it wasn't race-related. He simply said, this is what I'm doing. Sorry, right? This is a mix-up. Cops are like, yeah, no, you're right. You can go, right? It's really that simple.
I have a goddamn bank account here, or don't I? Go inside, check my goddamn account, and release me right now. Are you people?
See, that's gonna get people killed. That's what get people shot. Stuff like that. Okay. Instead of just remaining calm in a situation where you know you're not doing anything wrong, you walk away with your life 100% of the time. But when you mouth off and you get mad because, oh, somebody thought you were suspicious or somebody called the cops on you for whatever reason, that's when things start to go off track, right? That's when things start to go off the rails. Because at that point, if you're in the bank making a whole lot of noise, making a whole lot of fuss, and that's the first thing cops see when they walk into the bank to question you, I think that the situation will escalate very quickly. Because the cops are automatically going to see the first interaction with you is that, oh, this dude is hostile, okay? Which could support the whole purpose of the call, which was, hey, this guy might be trying to rob the bank, right? So it's actually a good thing that he remained calm and he's not acting the way Cenk is basically suggesting that he act.
You want him to get loud? You want him to get loud with the cops? I mean, we've seen how that plays out.
I know.
Even Anna knows that that's stupid. Even she knows that's stupid.
And he can't because then they'll murder you. It's maddening. It's maddening.
Look, but honestly, Cenk, like, let me just say, I don't think the cops were in the wrong here, okay? The cops showed up after the bank teller and her boss alleged that there was a robber in the bank.
No, I hear you completely. On the bank, on the cops acting rashly, if he does get loud, that's just a general thing across the country, and you're putting your life in your, you're risking your life if you're.
So why'd you just say that he should do that for them? So you know that if you get loud with police, okay, and you start mouthing off that it could potentially put your life in danger, no matter who it is, right? This dude literally just said that's just something that happened across the country. He's admitting that. No matter what race you are, it can happen to you if you interact like that. If you interact like that with police, why the hell did you just suggest that, this man tried to get loud with police? Yeah, progressives don't really have black people's interest at their heart. They don't have their best interest at heart.
You're black or brown, but mainly black. If you do what I said and like rightfully argue for your rights in front of cops, that you run.
But you don't need to argue. You're not doing anything wrong. All you need to do is just explain what the situation is. If it's obvious you're not doing anything wrong, there's no point in having an argument, right? And that's what happened in this situation. So again, I'm trying to find out what is there to be outraged about here.
Risk of being killed, right? So, but in this case, the real problem is before he gets handcuffed. Anna's right. The bank teller, and the manager, idiot of idiots, check to see if he has an account. He just asked for $12,000 out of his own account. Why are you assuming every black person is a robber? Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you?
He's assuming every black person robber. A bank that has mostly black people there and a place that probably is majority black people with black police officers. Everybody in the situation is black. For whatever reason, this guy's accusing this black woman of assuming that everybody that goes into a bank that's black that's trying to withdraw money is a robber. Okay? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Are you assuming that black people don't go to the bank that often? Is that what you're assuming? Black people too poor to go to the bank? This just happened to be one of the rich ones that have the luxury of going to a bank. So they must not see too many black people in banks. And anytime you see one, this is what happens, according to Cenk Uygur.
Yeah, I mean, just if you, I mean, he, like you'd have to input and provide your account information to withdraw the money. If there's any suspicion that the person withdrawing the money isn't the person who owns the account, ask for ID. Like, I just don't, it didn't need to get to this point, right? So it's pretty sick. And by the way, it's amazing. I mean, even after everything they put him through, he was insanely gracious about the situation.
Yeah, because he knows that he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was like, it's a mix up. I'm not doing anything wrong. And he doesn't, honestly, he probably doesn't even want to draw attention to this because he knows that everybody in this situation that's involved is black, right? And it's probably not gonna be a good look for a lot of these people, right? He doesn't want people to lose their jobs, their livelihoods over a mistake, okay? It's the same reason why, again, when I got pulled over and I, took the test and whatnot, and obviously I was good to go, I wasn't out here like, oh my God, I hate police. Why are they pulling me over, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. You're doing your job. I'm glad that you checked, and it is what it is. And then you move on, right? That's how adults handle things. But again, these people are not adults. They don't know how to handle stuff in real life. They think that outrage is supposed to be the solution, okay? Which, again, they acknowledge that outrage gets you killed.
He says the situation should have never happened. However, Bank of America worked with me and addressed it to my satisfaction, and we've moved on.
It would have addressed it to my satisfaction if they gave him $1 million, okay? And then I'll move on, right? But look, kidding aside, I don't know the motivations of the manager and the teller at all, and I don't know their identity at all, right?
Yes, you do. Again, the source of the information that they're getting here, right? TMZ, in the TMZ article, the teller's black. In the video, the teller's black. They know exactly what the identity of the people involved here is, right? They know that everybody involved in the situation is black, but yet they go on their failing channel and they pretend like, oh, I don't know who's involved here. This could be white folks, right? I don't know the identity of the people involved here. So if you don't know the identity, why are you playing up a race angle if you don't know the identity? But no, you do know the identity. You just don't want to mention it and tell your audience that because that's not convenient to the narrative that you want to push here, right? Again, it reminds me of when Cenk basically tried to imply that the people that were committing these smash and grab robberies in San Francisco, they were white suburban kids because they was driving expensive cars, right? When on video, most of the people that were doing it were black. The suspects that got arrested were black. Information that TYT knew. But Cenk, trying to be a race crusader, trying to play up a race angle, actually is saying the most racist thing possible, which is that, well, black people don't drive expensive cars. Therefore, the people committing these smash and grabs, they can't be black, right? Just like he's making a racist assumption here that, black people don't go to the bank that often. So anytime somebody goes, when these rich black people go, they're assumed to be a robber. As if this bank is not dealing with hundreds of black people a day, right? Again, it's funny how racist these guys are in their attempt to prove that they're not racist. It's really hilarious.
I just know that systemically in this country, we've put it into that poison into people's heads, into everybody's heads. White, black, brown, it doesn't matter. Asian, it doesn't matter.
That's why he's saying this. He's saying this because he knows the actual identity of the bank teller and the people involved with this, but he just don't want to say it.
If it's a black person, they're suspicious. And that is so heartbreakingly unfair. And guys, if you're a right winger or you're white right winger, we're just asking you to have a tiny bit of empathy. And I know it didn't happen to you, so you think like, well, that doesn't sound right. It didn't happen to me. It didn't happen to anyone I know. I can't believe it. But there it is on video. It does happen because they look different than you. Can you just be human?
Again, what proof do you have that this happened because he's black? You don't have any proof. You don't have any proof whatsoever. You're just assuming that. You want people to have sympathy for because you're making the argument that this happened to this person just because he's black, but you have no proof or evidence that it happened to him just because he's black.
For a second and have your heart go out to them so that we could all fix this together. It's not too much to ask for.
For what? I mean, the dude explained the situation and he was let go and he got his money and it's done deal, right? It's done. No harm, no foul. What is there to have sympathy for? What is there to be sad about? It worked the way it's supposed to work. The bank teller thought that this dude was suspicious. They called the cops. The cops came in. They didn't make any assumptions. They just talked to the guy and said, okay, this is what you was doing. All right, cool. All this stuff checks out. You can go. That's what's supposed to happen, right? Is the bank teller just never supposed to call the cops when she thinks somebody's being suspicious? I don't know. You tell me, right? I don't know. You tell me. But again, I just find it fascinating how TYT literally did a video and tried to play this up as a racist event. With everybody involved in this incident, we're all black. They're all the same color. But yet still, they're still crying racism. I don't understand. I don't get it. Okay? I really don't. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.